Hi everybody, my name's Fran and I'm coming to you from Education Futures Trust in Hastings, East Sussex. I'm going to read you a story about my friend, Stephen the seagull. The story is called Stephen Flew Over the Rainbow. Drip, drip, drip. Stephen woke up as a huge drip of water fell onto his head. He shook his head and scrunched up his face. "Bleh!" he exclaimed. He looked up at the clouds and saw dark, menacing clouds looming over his head. Stephen was cross. He did not like the rain, and he had plans to visit his friend Sally at St Leonard's Marina that day. How could he do that if it was going to rain all day long? "Squawk!" he called his friend from the top of the hill. Sally, his friend, replied that over where she lived in St Leonard's, the sun was shining. "Just pack a brolly," she called. "Squawk!" So Stephen got out of bed, grabbed some breakfast, picked up his umbrella and his welly boots, and set off. As Stephen was flying across the seafront, he got caught up in a horrible storm. The howling wind blew him from side to side. The rain beat down on him and hurt his back. He couldn't see where he was going. Everything around him looked different. He felt lost and afraid. He didn't know which way to go. Suddenly, he felt incredibly lost and all alone. All he wanted was to see his friend. He hadn't seen her in so long and he missed her terribly. He tried to use his umbrella to stop the rain from falling on him, but it blew inside out and he was pushed up higher and higher by the wind. The wind pushed him up through the dark clouds, and he couldn't see anything, only darkness. Stephen began to feel lonely and cold. It seemed there was no way out. Would he always be stuck here in this cloud? Tears began to roll down his face and dripped off the end of his beak. Just then, in the distance, a light caught his eyes. Stephen looked up to see a spectrum of colour: red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo and violet. It was the most beautiful thing he had ever seen. A warm feeling of hope began to trickle through him. He took a deep breath and counted to 5 to calm himself down. The dark feeling seemed to be washed away by the rainbow colours, and he noticed something sparkly and shiny in the distance. After a few minutes and some more deep breaths, he realised the shiny light was the sunshine, glistening across his beak and warming him through his feathers. He saw a small shadow flying through the yellow light. It danced and whirled and began to move towards him. Was it really? Could it be? Yes, it was Sally, his best friend in all the world. The rainbow had given him hope. The beautiful colours had led him to the sun and to his friend. Sally and Stephen had a lovely time, jumping in all the puddles, playing hide and seek and telling silly jokes. "What happens when it rains cats and dogs?" cackled Stephen. "I don't know," questioned Sally. "What happens when it rains cats and dogs?" "You might step in a poodle," boomed Stephen. "Knock, knock," joked Sally. "Who's there?" "Butter." "Butter who?" "Butter, bring an umbrella. It looks like it might start raining." Sally hooted and the two friends rolled around laughing at their own jokes. The best friends laughed and laughed until it was time to say goodbye and go home. That night, when he was curled up in his nest, Stephen thought about his day and how afraid and lonely he had been. He thought to himself, "Whenever I feel sad and gloomy and like I'm being followed by dark, rainy clouds, I will remember the rainbow which gave me hope and led me to the sunshine." That's it from Stephen today. Hope to see you again for another story. Bye.